Hello everybody. I just wanted to give a little bit of an update on this tank because it's been 2 days. Yeah, so stuff's been going on. There's been a lot of activity. You might notice, for example, that this coffee folia only has one leaf left. Part of that is the cichlid's fault, and part of that is my fault. So the shell, this guy right here, that it was buried under, was in fact enough to cause the rhizome to rot. So half the plant actually fell off when I removed it from the substrate to glue it to this rock. So hopefully that thing survives. I don't know that it will, but we'll find out. We'll see. You'll notice that the Java fern looks considerably more spread out, and that's because I actually, when I went to glue it to a rock, I chose a little bit bigger rock so I could have a little bit more variety in that, but also so I could have some little rocks for the smaller tank, have a little bit of variety over there. And so when I took the Java fern out to actually glue it to this rock, I realized that what I thought was a single rhizome was multiple rhizomes, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different plants in there. They were just all entangled in the roots. Just every single one of them was root tangled with each other. And so I started cutting them apart. And again, not cutting the rhizome, just the roots. So they were already separate when they arrived. And it looks fantastic. I really can't wait to see this thing fill out. I know Java fern is a little bit slower growing, but I still think it'll be... I think it'll be pretty spectacular. And then over here we've got this guy, this Anubias, also glued to a rock. Not my best job, but it works. And this is the one that the cichlids had been repeatedly unearthing. So its rhizome was perfectly healthy because it never stayed stuck to the ground. So I think this one will be just fine. It'll look fantastic when I get it all, when stuff starts to, reacclimate and grow. You'll notice some of the Java moss looks a little bit more sparse. That's because, again, the cichlids have been ripping it out. And so you've got chunks of it sitting in rocks, chunks of it floating around the tank, which there aren't very many right now, but they're around. And I just figured, it's all going to stay in the tank anyway. A lot of people are like, if you have floating pieces of moss in your tank, remove them because they'll clog your filter intakes. They're not going to clog my filter intakes because my filter intake is the substrate. It goes through the undergravel filter, so it's not going to clog anything. So let it fall where it may and grow if it will. So that's kind of my philosophy on this right now. I did clean up the rocks a little bit, because they were absolutely just riddled with algae, and you could see there's still algae on them. I couldn't get them all the way clean just because the algae was so friggin' thick, and the stuff on the bottom is matted to the rock. So there's not much I could do about that. I don't want to put an algae killer in the tank because those are toxic, and they will kill your fish if you're not careful. And I've seen people, I put 1 drop too many and all of my fish are now dead. So it's like I don't want to do that, especially not with a tank this populous now. It's like I don't want to try that. I've got another video in the works. I'm kind of slowly working on it here. You'll see it hopefully in the next week, but we'll find out because it's become a project and a half. But it'll things will happen. Things are happening. I'm filming absolutely nothing, and you know what? I don't care right now. I'm so tired. I'm tired. I'm starving. I haven't eaten yet today. I've been working on this tank basically all day for the last 2 hours at least. Trying to get it looking nice and trying to get the rocks kind of situated. I got these. This is dragonstone. For those of you who don't know, it's a kind of... I'm not entirely sure what kind of rock it is. I think it's like a siltstone. But it's not limestone. It doesn't affect the pH of the tank. So that's part of the reason why I bought it, but also because it looks nice. And let's face it, it's called Dragonstone. So it's called that because you could tell that they're a little, like, it's got this weird structure to it, and it's got this weird structure to it because the way it forms, it kind of develops this porous nature. It's a very porous rock, which is why it's perfect for epiphytic plants like Java fern and Anubias. So that's another big reason why I got it. But also it develops these really cool like crags, and just it looks amazing. It's called Dragonstone because the pores and the holes and the crags that it forms, according to some, look like dragon scales. I disagree, but you know, I'm allowed to disagree. Pete has just, or no, that's Hinato. Hinato has fucked off with the. Wow, she just ate that in like one bite. I dropped an algae pellet in here because I know it's like, oh, but you've got so much algae in here. It's like they don't eat the algae off the rocks. They're supposed to, but they don't. The only thing that's been eating anything off the rocks is the red-tailed shark. Not even Shalidor eats the shit off the rocks. He's spoiled. But yeah, so I dropped a little algae pellet in there to try and kind of, you know, get Shalidor's attention, and of course the cichlids all go for it, and Hinato just picked it up and carried it away and just ate it, the entire freaking thing. So it's gone. You are a spoiled, rotten little girl, if you're a girl. Yeah, are you not feeling too good now? Yeah, you just ate an entire friggin' algae pellet. Anyway, so that's what's been going on. There is stuff happening. So as this Java fern fills out, it'll send its roots into the pores of the Dragonstone, and it'll really root in, and it'll look just gorgeous as it takes over that rock, and then starts to overfill this front area here. And the jungle val's been doing okay. The issue is I've been using this stuff, Flourish Excel from Seachem, and it's supposed to be fantastic. It adds carbon to the water, which is not normally present in water, and I don't feel like rigging up a CO2 tank because that's just way too much work right now. And this stuff, it's not quite as good as rigging up a CO2 tank, but it's pretty good. It helps. The problem is it melts jungle val. So you can see some of these leaves are looking kind of brown and ugly. I probably ought to give it some iron too, but yeah, the brownness is because it's kind of melting a little bit. But it's not bad. A lot of people are like, don't put this stuff in your tank if you've got val because it'll just kill it. And it's like, it hasn't killed it. Now, admittedly, I've been using light doses. The initial dose, it was like, put 1 capful for every 10 gallons, and I put 1 for every 20, because it was just, like, I don't want to kill the val. But, yeah, so that stuff's been growing pretty well. You could see, well, I don't know if you could see, but there are new leaves. There's a new leaf forming right there. There's a new leaf back there. So it's growing. It hasn't quite acclimated to the tank yet. It's not had enough time to really do so, but it is growing. And on the plus side, the diatom blooms seem to have waned a little bit. It's not nearly the problem that it had been. Of course, that's probably because the algae had been taking up the residence where all of the diatoms had been. So the water looks a little bit cloudy right now, but it's a lot clearer than it's a lot clearer than it's been in a long time. And it's cloudy right now because I cleaned all the rocks. And so all the shit that was on the rocks that I tried to wash off but couldn't is kind of floating in the tank now. But it'll get filtered out. I got this amazing thing called Purigen that, I mean, this water was like milk. And the Purigen really did a number on that. And I think a lot of that was diatom bloom. So I think it has helped in more ways than one. But in any event, this video has gone on for 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop it here. I've got more work to do, and I've got to feed myself. So I'll see you guys next time, I guess.